What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven and happy Gwensday. Today we are going to take a look at a Gwen video, and this is a video from the previous patch. At least I'm assuming that the new patch is out by the time you guys are watching this video, but I do think that there are still some takeaways from this game that are still applicable just to Storybook Brawl in general. And it is a reasonably fun game. It's also maybe a little bit of a send-off to trees, which, at least from what I know at the time of recording, aren't getting any massive changes, but still aren't going to be nearly as dominating as they are in this game. Though, I think that a lot of what trees could do in the past, they're still going to be able to do. It's just going to be less common. And basically what I know of trees is that they are just getting stat nerfs. Burning Tree is going to be a 0-20 and Ashwood Elm's going to be a 0-15. So if those aren't what actually makes it into the live, then maybe we'll see some different tree paths. Trying to not say branches and reuse that pun. But basically, I just want to try to be as strong as I can in this early game. Now that we've got this tiny, we are potentially big enough that we can battle here with an egg from Jack's Giant, though we'll definitely be able to battle against this 3 blind mice. So that's pretty good. Just to be winning combats, to be at 40 health, despite not having a hero power to be killing Jack's Giant, all of that stuff is pretty good. We'll pick up another tiny and could potentially look at knighthooding this Fanny. That would certainly make us a lot more powerful, though it's not particularly useful to grow these tinies. I mean, to give them 2 more health and stuff, yes, that's useful. It will also tick down the Cindy to cast this knighthood. It will also tick down the Cindy to cast this knighthood, but I think at this point in the game, we will be probably seeing how long we can hang on to this knighthood for, potentially trying to do some sweet tricks with it throughout the game. I'm going to pursue some different angles. I definitely was not locked into trees going into this game, though trees were really strong at the time of this recording, so it's certainly always an option. We are going to start off on 3.0 by seeing, honestly, not too much. Probably will wind up picking up the Humpty and the Romeo just to continue to be as strong as we possibly can. We could potentially pick up the Polywoggle as well. That's definitely reasonable and would allow us to potentially do some sweet stuff with the knighthood into the future. Maybe I feel that by picking up the Humpty Dumpty, that kind of gives me the flexibility to play with the Polywoggle. Okay, I don't hate this either. Trying to potentially get lucky, press my luck, if you will, with this Polywoggle. And if we get a sweet tier 4 unit, we could certainly use our knighthood right now and upgrade this. And I guess I'm thinking that with these tinies and with this Humpty, maybe we're strong enough that we will actually be able to get a Polywoggle sleigh. So that is kind of the idea, though. Tiny isn't necessarily conducive. That's going to freeze my computer here from all of these egg cracks in this combat, but that's fine if it means that we can walk away from this one with a win. Doesn't look like Polywoggle will be able to slay, but we actually do walk away with a win and a Humpty that is fully intact. I will switch to using a Gwen emote once I remember those. So that's pretty sweet to walk away from this one with a Humpty fully alive there. I'll pick up a tiny to grab a tier 2 treasure. And I don't love any of these options, really. I mean, Crown of Atlas to give +1/+1 to Polywoggle is something. I'd probably honestly rather not, though. And then I do see that this shop does have the option of playing Sleeping Princess plus Luna's Grace, which also seems pretty strong. And I can do that, plus pick up the Mad Mim if I just skip on the treasure. So that's going to be what I go for here. Let's just take a skip on the treasure so that Madman, we can pick that up. It's like a mini Ring of Rage kind of thing, and could potentially allow us to slay with the Polywoggle, which could allow us to get ahead by upgrading that tier 4 unit potentially after Mix-a-Whizzling it or something sweet like that. But we are continuing to play a pretty strong board despite the fact that we are not slaying with Polywoggle because of this Sleeping Princess and everything else that we've got going on. Does look like we are going to get our egg cracked here, but at least we don't lose the combat. So that egg definitely saved us a ton of damage, won us a combat, and then made it so that we didn't lose a combat. From this shop, I will definitely be picking up, well, I like both of these mummies, and we'll also be benching the Polywoggle because I'd rather try to upgrade it on 4.0 than use it right now. Second time's the charm, I will take this spinning wheel here, and then I will take this pair of mummies, and then I will also just take this crafty, which is a 6/6. And it looks like I actually keep in the Polywoggle for a second before realizing that we are on 3.2. So that makes me want to bench the Polywoggle. And like I said, we'll try to play it next turn on 4.0, grab an upgraded tier 5 unit, and then potentially Knighthood that. And that could give us a really good kind of advantage into the game. Just having an upgraded tier 5 unit before everybody else. So that is at least the plan for now, though plans may change depending on what happens. I do still feel like we are pretty strong, though we're getting a little bit weaker as things go on. This opponent with Eye of Ares, though, is actually going to work out extremely well for us. And that is because we've got those mummies that are able to trade 2-for-1s there. So we walk out of this one with 2 extra units ahead of my opponent. So that one was pretty easy. We'll have to see if we can't put the Polywoggle back in for this combat. I would love to potentially grab a mummy triple. That could be kind of sweet. What else are we looking for? Okay, the Fanny isn't the worst thing in the world, but I think I'm kind of off of it at this point. I could certainly see playing the Lightning Dragon, and the only question really is that worth 4 gold? And I am going to say no. Then I wind up seeing this pair of Heartwood Elders, and honestly, this is the point in the game that I decided to play trees. It really had nothing to do with how good trees were on this current patch. It was more the fact that we saw these 2 trees and then decided to move into it. Small mistake there. I probably should have sold the dwarves rather than sell the golden chicken, but we can also pick up this haunted creeper, and that'll be decently okay because we can give it some pumps, though. This board is a little bit awkward, so I'm going to wind up not even playing the creeper, and that's why I probably should have just sold the dwarves and hung on to the golden chicken. And then I'm going to put the mummy back in as well, and the reason for that is I'm realizing we're up against a 40 health fallen angel, and I want to respect them. I want to realize the fact that we are probably taking some damage this turn. There was no shot for me to slay with Polywoggle either, so let's just try to walk out of here with only taking 8, and honestly, that's not too bad. We'll also give my opponent a 4 glory, which is a little bit annoying, but now we'll see what ways we can potentially try to use our Knighthood. And when I see this Mix-a-Whizzle, I'm thinking, okay, what tier 4 units do we have? All we have are these Heartwood Elders, but let's see. Maybe we could get something sweet. Maybe we just get a Burning Tree right here, and then we would Knighthood that. Fortunately, we get a Wombats in Disguise, which isn't really something I ever get super excited about, so I'm not going to wind up Knighthooding that. If we can find another Mix-a-Whizzle or True Love's Kiss this turn, though, that would be really sweet. But then I do see this Grim Soul. No, I don't want it. I want to try to find a Mix-a-Whizzle or a True Love's Kiss, and that's what I am going to go for. But then I see the end, and this does kind of make me change course a little bit because we can just get to level 5 next turn, purchase a tier 5 unit with our gold, and then knighthood it that way. So that's going to be the route that we wind up going instead. I'm going to wind up selling off my Polywoggle and the ending this Darkwood Creeper, and I think we've got enough health that I can get away with doing this. We aren't that strong at this point in the game, but we've been able to purchase some XP, which is going to just allow us to find those upgraded units a little bit sooner, and I think we can just get away with doing this. So that's the plan. A little bit different of a Gwen game here, hanging on to this knighthood for so long, but sometimes that's what you wind up doing, and sometimes you can get away with that. We'll see how that winds up looking on the new patch, but for right now, it's fine. And gotta think about what I might want to upgrade. Certainly eyeing up a burning tree. I'm gonna pick up another Polywoggle though again and see what we can't find. And we find a Grimsoul, which is now going to get us a tier 6 unit. We also wind up getting another XP off that Genie's Wish, and we'll be able to potentially knighthood this tier 6 unit that we get from the Polywoggle, and maybe that'll be something good for us. So that is the current plan, shifting back into the Polywoggle plan despite being level 5, but the fact that we're level 5 just means now that we can Polywoggle and try to find some tier 6 units. So not the strongest play for the current board, but we are going to get a tier 6 unit from this Grimsoul dying. Doesn't wind up being super synergistic for us. It winds up giving a bunch of health to a mummy, but it is still a 1030, so that's enough to trade with Siren. We do wind up taking a little bit of damage from this one though, all things considered. We'll take 11 damage, but hey, 11 damage and still in the top half of the lobby? Not too shabby. Green Knight is pretty good as far as activating Lancelot is concerned. That's going to get us really close to activating Lancelot, but not quite the full Monty. Then we see a Burning Tree, so going to want to pick that up as well because we have this pair of Heartwood Elders, and we picked it up just basically because it was a pair. We do have a True Love's Kiss here as well, which is kind of cute. We could use it on either one of our tier 5 units to get another tier 6 unit a little bit ahead of the curve. I'm kind of eyeing up this knighthood though, and I think I'm not going to include this in the thumbnail. Going to mix it up a little bit here for this thumbnail, and you'll see why as this game progresses. But I think knighthood on the Lancelot is a pretty good use of knighthood here. It immediately gets us a tier 5 treasure. There's a lot of tier 5 treasures that could honestly do a lot of work for us at this stage of the game, and I think it's going to be good. So we're going to use this knighthood on Lancelot. That's going to put it up to 28 health and immediately get us the tier 5 treasure. I was definitely debating it because we're going to be tier 6 next turn. There was a lot of things to consider there for sure, but the fact that we wind up really doing a lot of work with this Lancelot on this combat definitely makes me feel a lot better about this decision. This Lancelot just single-handedly wins this combat for us, so pretty sweet stuff there. That's also going to get us a tier 5 treasure, and the tier 5 treasure winds up being Hand of Midas that we are able to take. So that was basically going to be my decision anyways, but when I see that there's already an Echowood in this shop, well, that decision gets even easier. We'll grab an upgraded Echowood, and now we're just an Ashwood Elm away from a full trifecta here, as I've recently coined it. So we'll skip this treasure off the mummy, nothing too crazy there, and now we're just rolling for Burning Trees, Echowoods, and Ashwood Elms, and we'll see what we can find. Probably not super interested in a Flourish. I think I'm just rolling for an Ashwood Elm first and foremost. And I guess we could cast for Glory. Doesn't seem like the craziest thing in the world. Up against Apocalypse on this fight. We'll see if Apocalypse is leveled up, and they have just leveled up on this turn. So They are going to be pretty strong because of that, with all of the Gumblegore and then the pumpkin in the background too. That is going to be a little bit unfortunate for us. I think we will walk away from this one with a loss, depending on what comes out of this pumpkin, I assume. But pretty reasonable units for my opponent out of the pumpkin. That is going to mean that we wind up losing this one, as, yeah, our Green Knight is just not quite going to be big enough to take us home here. So we take 8 damage down to 15, still doing okay. And then I'm going to Knighthood this Burning Tree. Now we're up against the Ghost here, so we do have a little bit of flexibility in terms of casting this Knighthood. But that is basically why I am calling this video, should you Knighthood the entire tree comp, or should you Knighthood every tree, or something like that, because we do wind up casting a Knighthood on this Burning Tree, and I think kind of by the transitive property we did cast a Knighthood on the Echowood as well, because we cast the Knighthood on the Lance, which gave us a Hand of Midas, which we immediately used on the Echowood. So I think it's close enough that we can count it, and now all we have to do is find that Ashwood Elm, and then maybe also cast a Knighthood on that, and then we are really cooking. But we'll see what we can find here. We are going to lock this shop with a lucky coin plus a Burning Tree. That's definitely a pretty easy lock there. And we'll see what else we can find in order to make our board a little bit stronger. And part of what I was getting at earlier when I said that I think that this game is still kind of feasible to have happened in the current patch is the current patch is really just tuning down some of the stats on Burning Tree. And while it will make it harder to put some of this stuff together, we will see that it is still possible. This is going to be really awkward too, that we wind up taking damage against the Ghost. I don't think we were supposed to. I guess, yeah, we were. The Ghost beats us there more often than not, so awkward. We're definitely a little bit behind the 8 ball here until we find an Ashwood Elm, unfortunately. But we find an Ashwood Elm just in time, so not too big of a deal. Now we are definitely a lot stronger. And we'll finish off this turn with a Candy Rain. But basically, yes, maybe Ashwood Elm is getting changed to be a 0-15. Maybe Burning Tree is getting changed to be a 0-20, right? But we're still pumping up both of these things with the Heartwood Elders, and that definitely speaks for something. And we also got this upgraded Echowood very cheaply, which that's going to be good still regardless if you can find your way into that. So I think in a case like this, the Trees comp can definitely still work, and it's definitely going to be a premier endgame comp. It's just going to be a little bit harder to put together. And I'll talk about this some in my patch notes, which maybe came out before this, maybe is coming out after this. Basically, just the point is that it might be a little bit more uncommon to play the Trees comp because it isn't strong when you initially pick up the pieces. The Burning Tree isn't as strong by itself. Ashwood Elm isn't as strong by itself. But once you put them all together, they're still going to be just as strong. I think I will be dreaming here because we have nothing to do with Gwen at this point. So I'm going to sell off some of the things on my bench in case we transform into the Mask or maybe even Headless Horseman. And then I'll pick up Zelhua. Notably, I am rolling past Pup there because I don't really want to play these Heartwood Elders for too much longer. Zelhua is exactly what I'm looking for though. Zelhua or Pan Shadow to just roll and potentially try to find some more trees and pick those up on the cheap. Up against Loki, they have got some nice stuff going on, but we have got a rather large Echowood. So hopefully that's enough. My opponent has this Court Wizard, and we've got also a huge Burning Tree that's bigger than everything else on my opponent's board, and looks like that might be enough as long as we can take out their Court Wizard and not... Oh, they don't even have a Juliet. Okay, great. Yeah, we're going to hit my opponent for 12 here, down to 2. Could take a Green Knight because we are Zelhua. And I think that that is pretty reasonable. Gets us a tier 6 treasure, gets us some potential, like another unit to play if we find a Heartwood Elder triple. Interestingly, decided to not go for the True Love's Kiss there on Lancelot, but 3 gold is actually a lot of gold on Zelhua. And so is 6 gold, but I think that this is worth it. And the title, the thumbnail, it's Should You Knighthood, the entire trifecta. Should You Knighthood, Burning Tree, Echowood, and Ashwood Elm. And like I said, we didn't really Knighthood this Echowood. We Knighthooded the Lancelot, but just count it, and we will be Knighthooding this Ashwood Elm next turn. I'm also just going to try to play the strongest board that I can, and that is going to include using both of these Green Knights. I think that there is only basically 1 or 2 more turns left in the game, so the scaling that I'm going to be able to get from this Ashwood Elm I just don't think is as important as the plus 10 health from Green Knight. And who knows, maybe Green Knight we'll start to see more play in some of these tree builds again because Ashwood Elm doesn't have as much base attack. We're up against another tree player here with the Fates. However, I'm just a little bit stronger with my upgraded Ashwood Elm, upgraded Burning Tree as well. So we are going to be able to take them out and get the win. And that is going to put some more trees back into the pool as well. But we don't have to worry about the pool. We are going for this Knighthood on Ashwood Elm. And then we are going to see what else we can find. And going to sell off the Golden Chicken. This is the last turn of the game. I might even sell off. I'd have to do the math. Yeah, because if we find 1 more tree, we could still buy it. We could have sold both Heartwood Elders and the Lancelot to pick up like another Ashwood Elm here. So it was definitely worth rolling for, but unfortunately we did not find it. Let's see though if we can find a win in this last combat against Loki. I think we just beat them 2 turns ago, so shouldn't be too big of a deal, and we are now much bigger than we were 2 turns ago. Our Echowood is going to be up in almost the thousands, I think. Don't really feel like doing the math, but there we go. Yeah, 860. I'll take it. And that is definitely going to be bigger than what my opponent is doing. They do have an Echowood as well, but our Echowood is like 3 times bigger than theirs. So that is going to be a win and a kill onto this Loki. That is going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the new patch, assuming that that is out at this time as well. That is going to be it for me. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.